Hi guys, Jen here with Astrology and Earth Magic. So look at this, we're bringing it outside. Yes, it is a abnormally warm day today. It's about 69 degrees here. We still have a lot of snow, but it is melting pretty quickly. But I think this is the last day for a little bit of this super warm. So we're gonna stay out here and enjoy it while we talk about our new moon in Pisces that is coming up on March 18th. And that is at the 28th degree, 27 minutes of Pisces. Now, this is our sixth and our final new moon at that 28th degree of its sign. This is very similar chart to our Aries ingress chart, the video I just put out last week. But seems like that video got a little bit flagged and a little bit kind of shut down. I think because I did make some kind of probably not popular predictions in that, and I guess the powers that be didn't really like what I had to say, but I will link it right up here for you to check out, and I will stick it at the end as well. So definitely check that out. Really interesting stuff in there, and it just is a kind of a sum up of what to expect for the entire year. That's what an Aries ingress chart's all about. When the sun moves into the sign of Aries, kind of is that I guess you would call it the solar return for the zodiac. So definitely check that out. Anyway, I'll like I said, look up here, I'll link that. So I have to believe that with Neptune and all, and at that Aries world access point, things are still going to be kept secret. So we see these things still happening. Things that were starting to come filtering out are still being kind of held back, if you know what I mean. Files being exposed, but then all of a sudden there's something else going on that kind of like takes our mind off of it. But don't think that they're going to be gone, because I think we still are going to have all of this becoming exposed, whether we like it or not, or whether the, again, powers that be might like it or not. So we're coming to a close just 2 days prior to this new astrological year is when this new moon falls. The 28 degree energy is that climactic. It's coming to a climax. It's a turning and crucial point. It's a time for when choices will be made, and that really will set you on your chosen course for the future. Considering just after eclipse season, our Saturn Neptune conjunction as well, to which if you checked out those videos, I spoke about those important yet difficult life choices that you're pretty much going to be forced to make in the upcoming weeks, if you already haven't seen things starting to build. As this is our sixth new moon in that 28th degree, I think that we're already probably getting ideas of where this is going to start playing out in our lives. And where we're going to have to make these big decisions, these big releases, and these, where we're going to have to come to grips with these things that are going to maybe be very difficult for some of us. It's, like I said, likely just been a building issue with these last, like maybe every new moon, something new pops up in kind of a similar area that's kind of giving you a glimpse of like what you really need to start focusing on. And it's now really, I find so fitting that this final occurrence of a new moon at the 28th degree is in the final sign of our zodiac, which is Pisces. And again, it's just 2 days before we start that new astrological year coming up. So this is a completion. Again, a new moon is that completion of a cycle. It's a release, a letting go, a need to put something to rest, put something behind you to be able to start that new chapter. So it's like letting go of that baggage to start new, like letting go of baggage from an old relationship to start a new one. And you can look at a new moon like it's a new relationship. You want to get rid of all those bad, negative feelings and start fresh and optimistic, so that you can make the most of it and not bring in that negativity that is going to hold you back from that optimism, that is going to be that pessimism that's kind of like, I tried this, it didn't work. You know what? Drop all that and let it go so you can move forward. And what makes this even more impactful is, for Pisces, the modern day ruler is Neptune, and Neptune is at that 0 degrees of Aries. So that is the world access point, and it is the most cardinal of all of the world access points. So why is this so important? And if you're not sure what that is, if you've never heard that before, one of my cat's outside too, he's loving it, obviously, he can't shut up. So if you're not familiar with what a world access point is, these are the cardinal axes. So it's 0 degrees Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So all those cardinal signs, and those signs that really begin the new season. So we have this starting spring. Aries is the most kind of, I would say, cardinal of all. It's got that fire, it's got that drive, it's got that newness. Like, look, I'm already feeling it just getting outside with the snow starting to melt. You can feel that fire beginning, and you're starting to get like excited, and your excitement's building up, and that's what you need to grasp with this new moon, is grasp that excitement and just let it take you away. So again, these start our season. Then these world access points correspond with our Wiccan and pagan festivals. If you're interested in those, I've talked about those on recent videos. So we have the Sabbat for all of them. We have the Sabbat of Yule, Ostara, which is the one for Aries, Letha, and Maybone. So these symbolize birth, life, death, and rebirth. So with this Aries, this is symbolizing that birth and that newness. And so really just kind of like giving birth to those new ideas, to new, things coming up out of the ground and everything. If you're interested in any of those sabbats, I'll link that up on top as well. So definitely check out that playlist. Really interesting the way it all ties in with astrology. So the Aries point in particular symbolizes evolution in humanity. It's a need for balance and in life and in society. It's to find that balance, because remember, the axis is, got Libra on the other side. So that you do need to find that balance, even though it's a little bit imbalanced because of that Aries, that initiative energy. The sun will also be alongside Neptune. So, as Aries ruler. So they're going to be conjunct. So Aries ruler and its exalted ruler of Neptune. So together, these show a battle to evolve to our higher selves. This is, to our individual selves, to evolve within you, to try and become a better you. It's an awakening of mind and consciousness that will really put us on a path towards like this blissful future that we could have, that Neptune can bring at that 0 degree axis. That is what Neptune's trying to do, is make our dreams become those realities, make those fantasies that we've always thought about, like if only start becoming a reality. Because isn't that our life's purpose, to like live within your dreams? I know, some of them might be a little bit over the top, but building your way there, you could get farther than you ever could have imagined if you just put in the work, you just let go of like what I said, that I can't do this, that pessimism, that type of thing. Now on a mundane level, that brass ring you always hear has been world peace. When everyone says, oh, make a wish, oh, world peace. It's always world peace. That's always the go-to. So, but in Aries, you have that fire, that combat, that action, that force that needs to, ignite that flame within you to ignite that change, to force things to happen. And this will bring us to that new and pure energy. It's just that clean slate, because with spring, it's just starting new, starting pure, and, rebirthing. And I spoke about this again in that Aries ingress video, that I know things are rough around the world right now, and current escalations in the other part of the world are extremely stressful, and they're extremely polarizing, and people don't know what to expect, and people are confused and they're scared. I completely understand that. Again, I think though that because this is the catalyst that could finally bring that peace, it's like you have to almost ignite a force to force a peace. If you kind of look at it with like an open mind, instead of just like, you know, this is bad, this is bad. Think of like, okay, so if this works out the way that it may work out, maybe things will become peaceful. Maybe those people that are so filled with hate will be out of the picture, and then new and more tolerant people will move up, that will give more freedoms to people, and to be more tolerant of other religions, of other sexes, of other you could even say, I guess, politics, just to come together and not be so just angry and hateful of what you're not, and just to come together. So again, you know, I think that is why this is the start. That's that catalyst that can finally bring that peace. But yet it is with action, and Aries does do that. So when you look at the astrology, you see that it is in Aries, so it's not going to be all peaceful. Aries is the aggressor at times, and can be that forceful one that just acts and just like, I'm doing this and that's that. And I think that's why we haven't seen a lot of the steps going through. So I'm going to tiptoe around this a little bit, because like I said, that other video did get flagged. So I see that, you know, certain protocols that are supposed to be followed weren't followed, but that is also very Aries. So knowing that this is all happening in Aries, it's almost like this should have been expected. And I see a lot of other astrologers out there, you know, saying how awful it is, which it is. The war is awful. Don't get me wrong. There's people dying. But again, you should have seen this coming, that people are going to act with force to try and get something accomplished in the end. So the new moon is also sextile, almost like so close, in an exact sextile to Uranus. And again, that is that planet of disruption, of unexpected events, and also an awakening. So again, we saw this, we see this in the astrology. So we got a plane going over. We see this in the astrology. So how could we not have expected it to just be all like, you know, upcoming roses and flowers and all niceties? We saw that there were going to be disruptions. We saw that Aries was going to like be that aggressor to force a change on that world access point, which is that, you know, forcing the change to happen. And it can be difficult to really imagine the big picture, because you're looking at things on a smaller scale right now, and it's hard. So seeing like, you know, okay, so we've already lost some service members, there's been some issues, and you're scared, and you think this is going to go on forever. People are saying this is going to go on forever. Who knows what's going to happen. But Aries is also that quicker sign. It's kind of like wants things, you know, it's not holding back, so it's going to just go and go and go and go. It's not like Capricorn, where it's more of a slow build because you're trying a foundation. It's just like attack. Uranus is also conjunct Algol at that 28th degree of Taurus, and we're seeing already with, you know, Uranus at that 28th degree of Taurus, we're seeing the rising costs of oil, which I mentioned in that video as well, that we will be seeing this because with Uranus at that last degree of Taurus. Taurus is a lot about finances and money and, what things are worth. And we see that escalating and we see that being very volatile. And that is what Uranus likes to do. And it's at the end of the sign. It's going to be there for a little while more. So expect volatility in the stock market and things like that. And just with money in general, especially oil. So we do have that, what's going on over there. We have Neptune at that 0 degree. So Neptune rules oil. And with the aggressions going on, of course, oil is going to be affected. And once oil goes up, it trickles down to everything else because, things, shipping costs go up and so on and so forth. So expect that to happen for a little while, but I really don't think it's going to be all that long. I think once Uranus moves out of Taurus and into Gemini, the focus is going to be different than just the financial aspects. And it's going to be more into that information aspects. So maybe more into that, shocking, again, things coming out with maybe these Epstein files or something, news, some other shocking news coming out. So because Gemini is more of that, those information and not as much financial. But again, to encourage that disruption, to bring overall change, we knew this Saturn and Neptune, leaders of the world, would fall, which we just saw. So you have to expect some sacrifice, because a lot of this is about a sacrifice for the greater good. And again, that Aries is a like that sacrificial lamb, that one sacrifice for the greater good, for the collective. It's a very Neptunian ideology. Think the symbolic Jesus on the cross. Oh my God, is it really going to start raining on me? Might have to go inside, so hang on one quick second, guys. Okay, so thanks, Neptune, on that 0 degree. Look at what you're doing. Shocking, surprising, little rain outburst after it was a beautiful day. Anyway, let's get back into it. So again, we're talking about that Neptunian ideology, and you think of, again, if I didn't say this at the end, think of like Jesus on the cross, this time of year, symbolically sacrificing himself for all mankind's sins. So we see like that Pisces Neptune, that self-sacrifice and that oneness and that transcendence where he rises up as, rebirth again. So sacrificing for the masses, I'm not sure if, this whole what's going on in the Middle East is that, but it could be. Maybe that he had to be sacrificed. Maybe this had to be sacrificed for the greater good. But again, we'll see what's going to happen with that. So we also have Venus and Jupiter in a square. This can be a very optimistic outlook for the future, which I think we need, because right now, a lot of people are very pessimistic about it. And like I said, we have to, with this new moon, get rid of that pessimism to be able to move forward, get rid of that negativity that's holding us back from being accepting of a future world that is coming our way, and to let it just, take us over instead of just blocking it with so much anger and hate and all that. So hopefully that Venus-Jupiter square can bring that positive outlook. I know it is a square, but it is to benefics. So on a personal level, this can cause some like laziness because it is a square, some overindulgence, of course, because, Venus likes those finer things in life, and Jupiter likes to expand on things and, blow things up a little bit. But they're both benefics. So I think any of these difficulties should be short term. They should be, I would think, subtle. But I would still be very mindful of this and be mindful of, especially what you're spending your money on, because, that Uranus at the end of Taurus, things are going to be volatile. Like I said, prices are going to be going up, and, so going out and buying a whole bunch of stocks right now probably is not the best idea. Wait till they start tanking. That's when you start buying. Anyway, Venus will be in the sign of her detriment. So kind of another negative there. In Aries, Venus is in detriment, that she's more of a we, Aries is more of an I, and it can cause her to kind of act out in that kind of me aspect instead of that we, not taking into account others' feelings. Now, personally and mundanely, I think that you can feel that you could feel that they're lax in the ramifications of their decisions. And I think this is going to be kind of a key focus for a little bit here. It can be seen, I think, a lot right now with what's going on, again, in the world, where problems are pushed off and made to be inconsequential, especially when mistakes were made in this conflict that's going on. So they're kind of giving the excuse that this is happening in the fog of war, when there was what looked like a girls' school that got hit by, our fire. And even though they tried to put it off, and then they just kind of blow that off, like, oh, well, these are the things, it's not taking accountability. So, and this could also be on a personal level as well, where people might not be taking accountability for the things that they do wrong and making excuses for it. Because they act without really thinking of the, how it's going to affect everybody. Mercury is also going to be conjunct the North Node as well. And this promises to teach us those karmic lessons. And that is what that North Node does. That is that karma, that's that destiny. And Mercury is in retrograde, about to go. It's its last 2 days of retrograde, actually, so it's slowing down its retrograde cycle, because along with everything else on that Aries ingress with the sun, we have Mercury moving now direct on that same day. So 2 days later, on the 20th, we have so much going on. So again, I stress, check that video out. Lots of interesting stuff in there. But this is really a great time. We have some time now, about, a few days. This is next Wednesday. It's a great time for a deep introspection, just like a quiet pause, to just kind of take some time to just check in with yourself. I've been doing a lot of this as of late, taking walks, kind of doing runs. And these are the things that make me kind of like clear my head and, kind of not think for a while. And being a Libra, being an air sign, I need that a lot because I overthink a lot of things. And I'll tell you, just getting up in the morning and doing that and clearing your head and going for a run, I feel so positive throughout the day, so much more than just waking up and, going to work and just doing those just mundane everyday things, just kind of throwing something in. And then plus with these nice couple of days, I've been going on, walks during lunchtime, walks after work, and it's just been really good for your mental health. So just to kind of take a time to check in before, things get to be too much, and before that stress just starts getting to you a little bit too much. To get in touch with your really deepest, sometimes those hidden consciousness can be difficult. You might not know what's bothering you. One way I like to do it, and it could have a lot of clues that you don't even realize, is in our dreams. Some of our dreams, they just don't make sense. It's like, I don't even get this. But then, Pisces is such a dreamy, visionary sign. But these visions, again, could come to us, these visions and realizations could only come to us in our dreams, that we might have to, do a little dream interpretation. I love doing dream interpretation, just figuring out like, what the heck was that? When you wake up and you're just like, that was weird. And then when you start kind of interpreting it and looking at those symbols, it starts making a lot of sense. Okay. He wanted to come in too because it was raining, so he didn't want to stay out either. So again, I'd love to just kind of like, pick through your dreams. And, even my husband, he'll tell me one and I'll try picking through his to try and figure it out. So I received, so just touting this a little bit. So this is a peach selenite crystal. And I received this in like a monthly subscription box that I was doing. And you get so many and, they kind of just sit around and, unless the ones that really mean something to you. But this one has really become one of my favorites. I sleep with it, and I do sleep with it in my left hand, which can be uncomfortable. Actually, I don't even realize I'm doing it anymore, but you can also put it under your pillow if that seems. So I put it in my left hand because that is your receiving hand. It's to receive those subconscious messages. And I'll tell you, since I got it, my dreams of late have been just very vivid, analyzing them to pinpoint like the causes and stresses and everything. I had dreams about like bears, and it was like I had all this one night just dreams about bears, and what does that even mean? I didn't understand it. And the bears were escaping and getting out, and it kind of felt like, once I went through the dreams, okay, it's this hibernation, and I feel like I'm tired of, because bears, they hibernate, and it's cold and it's dark and we're stuck inside. So just breaking out of that hibernation. So that's what I've been trying to do. Get outside whenever I can, when it's warm enough, or even if it's cold, but it's just a little bit sunny, just so you try and use those symbols that those dreams are teaching you. Even those anxieties, fears, all that stuff, all of it. I've had dreams where, stresses at work manifest their way in different ways. But once you start analyzing it, they start making sense. And you're like, oh, and then all of a sudden it's funny. You could have the same dream over and over again. Once you figure out what it means, it kind of goes away because you all of a sudden know that you would need to deal with what is causing you these stresses. So we also spoke about, so that's a little side note. So peach selenite, if anyone's interested, any selenite would work, but the peach is just kind of that more calming, and it does calm your mind as well. If you're one of those like me again, that overthinks things and wakes up in the middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning, and your mind won't shut off, this really helps calm that. So definitely recommend going out and getting one if you have a New Age store near you. So going back, we spoke about decisions that could build that pathway to your destiny. But again, you must have an open mind to see those signs. And that's what I'm saying about, looking at your dreams, giving away that hatred, giving away that anger towards things. And these signs are, that's what you have to open your mind to see the signs, to see the open doors when they appear in front of you, and not to just ignore them. These signs are the new moon seeds that you need to start planting, that need to be nourished in order to grow your life endeavors. We talk about planting seeds with all new moons. But as always, the new moon, especially in a water sign, can be filled with a lot of emotions, and it could be flooding in like the tides. Like this is, especially with the very active energy that's going on, our emotions could be really high. So I would expect that. And even with that Jupiter Venus square going on, that could kind of boost that. So we could be feeling this in a lot of different aspects of our lives. But you want to make sure that you do nourish these seeds that you plant. When you plant a seed, if you don't take care of it, it's just going to die. So if you don't water it and feed it and, give it that love, give it that attention, these are the things that you need to give to your ideas, to your plans and all that. Because if you just expect to just like, okay, here's my idea, and all right, now go, It's not going to happen that way. You need to put the work in, you need to nourish it, you need to let it grow and just, work with it. If it starts kind of dying, then maybe change the soil up, change what you're, fertilizing it with, to help it grow a little bit. So with this new moon, there is so much Piscean energy going on right now. So that deep introspection, because we still, again, have that Mercury in retrograde in Pisces. So again, going within, deep introspection, bringing out the stuff that is no longer necessary, to really face it, to gain acceptance, and then have closure, and then release. We can't come to grips with something unless we face it and just face the facts. Really confronting the source of our issues, and then just moving on from them and letting them go. So another outlet, if you're feeling down, you're feeling, depressed a little bit, sluggish, just get creative. Do something, that's going to just get those creative juices flowing. Let your imagination run wild. Pisces is a very creative sign. Kind of ride that with the waves. Like, do something that, might make you feel a little good. A new season is coming up on us. Why not create some Ostara or some spring crafts to just boost the mood in your home? If you look around in my background, I have some different things up to just kind of like have a better mood. I have some eggs up here symbolizing, of course, new life, and some bunnies. This is all Ostara stuff. I have this plant that's growing already. Look at how tall it is. And I just got that for Christmas and planted it like 2 weeks ago, and it is sprouting. So you see, when you nurture something and give it love, it's going to grow. And that's the only way you can get it to grow. So do something to spruce up your home, put yourself in a little bit better mood, and, maybe things will start flowing from you. So now let's talk about all this through all the signs. So I'm just going to kind of touch on everybody quickly, because everything, I think, is a little bit similar. It is about finding that what you need to release, finding that hatred, finding that anger, and letting it go, coming to grips with it, coming face to face with it, accepting, okay, this is the way it is. I need to accept this instead of constantly battling it. But that's like the major kind of broad line. But for each sign, if you are a Pisces, this is going to be in your first house. This is your house of, so you're going to want to do a lot of self-love, self-care. It's time to take care of you. This first house is it's your guide, really. Your first house is your guide, and to release any of those negative thoughts about how the world sees you. So that's your outer kind of shell. So if you have negative self-esteem, if you have lack of confidence, self-doubt, thinking you're, not beautiful enough, not strong enough, not thin enough, just kind of let it go. Just like accept. Confront something. Okay, I'm never going to be a size, 1 or 0. So I'm going to accept this, and I'm going to let it go and move on. So that's the things that you need to take care of, those things that are holding you back, that negative self-esteem and whatnot. Really work on you and how people see you from the outside. Because if you have an aura of not feeling good enough, people are not going to think that you're good enough either. So if you have that more confidence aura about you, people will, give that and feed on that in return. So if you're an Aries rising, this is in your 12th house. So this is where I talk about the dream work. So with everything happening in Aries, especially Neptune being there as well, you want to really analyze those dreams. So go out and get your crystal and write down your dreams. Or even one thing that really works, I know they're easily forgotten once you open your eyes. Just lay there, and before you open your eyes, think about it a couple times. Think of the key themes. What stood out? Was there an animal? Was there an object, a place that stood out, a person that stood out, something that, could be that symbol that you need to interpret. So how did you feel when you saw this thing, person, place, and use that to really connect with your subconscious. And that can really help, you in the long run if you are that Aries. So if you're a Taurus, this is going to be in your 11th house. This is about spending time with friends and openly talk and listen and be open-minded. Get rid of that biasness. Get rid of that, like, oh, I don't want to hear that. Be open-minded to others, to their ideas, to their religions, to their politics even. Who knows? Something that once was polarizing can become accepted if you face it head on, like I said, and have those discussions, even if it's a group discussion. So face those things head on and open up about it and listen to what other people have to say. And maybe you'll have a whole new ideology going forward. Again, we need to release the anger, release the hate. So all about where this is happening, what you need to let go of. If you are a Gemini rising, this is going to be in your 10th house. So you want to be a compassionate leader. Let maybe employees and others, let them know that you actually care. This is something that I had a really positive morning at work today because my boss really encourages people to get involved in retirement plans, health insurances, and that type of thing, where my old job, I wasn't allowed to tell anybody about that. So it's having that compassion. It's like not being that boss that just wants to keep all the money to themselves. So they don't want this profit sharing. They don't want this. Be that positive person for the people that work for you, or that, people that work under you. Try to build bridges within your career by showing that compassion. Be that like mediator between, maybe the even higher bosses and the lower people. Also giving to charities, maybe releasing the things that you don't need anymore, donating money to charities. Again, my work does a lot of that. They put their banners up, so it's all a win-win for everybody. They buy the uniforms for the baseball teams and whatnot, and then they get their banner up. So it's a win-win for everybody. So it's really just showing that you care and being out there in the community and boosting your reputation, really. It's 10th house. If you're a Gemini. 9th house, it's Cancer. So if you're a Cancer rising, this is going to be happening in your 9th house. So be in touch with your spiritual side. What is working for you? And are you stuck in like a college courses perhaps that just seem irrelevant for where you're moving in your life, but you're still just plugging on with them? Maybe changing your major up, or do you need to release like that religion that maybe is just not working for you anymore? Sometimes it can be too rigid. Sometimes it can be too lax, I guess. So if you just need to let it go and find a new path. So release, come to grips with it and say, this isn't working for me anymore. Release it and then start a new path towards what you think will work for you. Look for those signs. Those signs are there. You just need to open your eyes and look for them. So then if you are a Leo rising, this is going to be in your 8th house. So this is time to face those fears and anxieties. So that fear of death and maybe losing someone, to get to the root of it. Like, why do I have this like polarizing fear? And how do I deal with it? Maybe it could be something simple as you haven't made preparations, or you're scared that you don't have preparations. So maybe these are the things you have to deal with that might not be too fun to deal with. If you're having also difficulty with accepting loss, so if you have just gone through a loss and if you're having difficulty accepting it and it just doesn't seem to be getting any better, you may want to seek help. And it could be in a totally different way. So this is 8th house. So this could be alternative healing, perhaps, maybe Reiki healing, maybe even herbal medicines that might kind of boost your mood a little bit. Going outside, also, going outside the box may help improve your mental health. So definitely something there. So if you are a Virgo rising, this is going to be in your 7th house. So take a practical look at your love and your partnerships. I don't mean nitpick. So you know how you Virgos can be a little nitpicky, and don't just point out what isn't working. You want to point out, you know, kind of what is working and how to fix the things that maybe are causing those like areas where you're finding that frustration. Maybe it's as simple as just mixing up, you know, your relationship routines. Maybe you're just going through some boredom. Maybe, again, that's that hermit. Maybe you need to get out of the house, that, you know, get out of those stale routines and just try something new. Or, you know, that Pisces, it's going with the flow. So try going with the flow, trying something different, trying to, you know, do something fun, do something, maybe a fantasy, something like that. But also, you don't want to keep bringing up those past issues. Release what is not working again. So if, okay, they leave their socks on the floor every day and that drives you crazy, you know what? Is it really something that you need to get mad about? No. Release that negativity that could be causing you to just be mad at them for the rest of the night. And just say, you know what, I'll just pick them up and put them in the laundry myself, and then start a new path forward, a new, more positive path forward. So if you're a Libra rising, this is going to be in your 6th house. So this is, I would say similar to the 8th, but more maybe physical health. Also though, mental health, and this could be due to unhealthy work conditions. And like, do you feel inadequate? Unequal in your head? These air signs can do that, where again you're not feeling good about yourself, you're not feeling positive, and you know that Libra air sign, that could be constantly, you know, affecting you, or people talking about me, is this going on? That could really stress your mental health out. You want to look at the root of the issue. So like, no matter how good a job you do, it's not, or not how high your pay is or how great the job is supposedly, it's not worth risking your mental health and having that extra stress, because stress can make you physically sick. So you want to release and move on. And again, it is one of the best things I've ever done, is leaving that old job that I had that did make you feel like you weren't good enough, that did make you feel like you weren't equal, that, you know, it was like here or here and there was no median. Like I said, they didn't want to have it balanced with the workers and like retirement plans and things like that. And I think that was just wrong, and it feels so much better to be out of that, much more positive. So if you're a Scorpio, this is going to be in your 5th house. This is being creative. Just be that creative Scorpio side. You know, you can be weird, you can be dark, you can, you know, just don't be what somebody else wants you to be. So if you are, say, making your little crafts for Easter or Ostara, if you want to make them a little different, maybe a little weird, a little, you know, whatever, add that twist to it. Be you, do what makes you feel good, not what makes everybody else feel good. You know, make little crafts, and I think people will appreciate them if you give them like backgrounds as to why you did it. So it's, again, releasing that, what you feel is what you should be doing and what people expect of you, and just do you instead. And I think you're going to get a really good kind of response from that as well. Also, being creative by writing down things, writing, and, you know, getting deep, maybe writing a book that really gets into your psyche can really get those juices flowing to release that stuff, because you're putting it on a page, even if it's not like a biography, but it could be something that just kind of gets those ideas out, gets those traumas out, and puts them on a page so you can maybe help somebody else with that. So if you are a Sagittarius rising, this is going to be in your 4th house. This is just, you know, maybe redecorate your home, or, you know, just do something to just really have fun and do something different. You can't seem to get something right, then try something else. Sagittarius is about going with the flow and enjoying what you're going to be doing. So you want to enjoy life, and that Rising is moving us to do not, just being complacent. It's moving on. And if you don't feel happy where you are, if you don't feel happy with what you're doing, maybe if you're in a home that's not good, maybe it's time to move around, even in your space. Maybe, travel. If you go to the same places all the time, maybe you want to do something different. So, and if your traditions this time of year are always the same, maybe it's time to mix them up a little bit and make them a little bit more interesting. If like you always have Easter at your mom's house, maybe it's time that you host instead. Mix it up a little bit, have fun with it, and try to get rid of that staleness and just kind of like, okay, mom's having trouble handling it. It's time I take over. This is a little difficult, but I'm going to do it. So that's that coming to face with something and then maybe opening a door to starting some new traditions. If you're a Capricorn, this is going to be in your third house. This is all about donating yourself. Give yourself away. Take time to give yourself in your community, show love and compassion within your community and maybe for others. Speak and listen to people, maybe visiting a nursing home, visiting a neighbor that doesn't get out too much, volunteer at like a soup kitchen, or even donate at like a local shelter and help maybe animals that are in need. That could really make you feel good, boost your reputation around, and really kind of get you out there talking to people, conversing, and just that's Capricorn, wants to boost that reputation. So getting out, speaking to people can really help. Finally, we have Aquarius, and this is donating your stuff because this is in your second house. So that humanitarianism side that you have that wants to help, that drives you, it will feel good to give those things away that you no longer need. There was that Marie Kondo, I think it was. She says, if you look at these things and they don't give you joy, then get rid of them. And these things can give somebody else so much joy. It can really make somebody's day and open a path up for them. So maybe that door that you're walking through is to help other people to find their place. Maybe those old clothes that you don't wear anymore can help others that maybe can't afford it to go for that job interview. So one man's trash is another man's treasure. Simply purging out your closet or your attic can bring somebody else so much joy and help them through maybe a difficult time financially or emotional times. It's these little things that can really make a big difference. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please let me know what you think in the comments. They are not only welcome, but they are encouraged. They help me know what you guys enjoy about the things that I talk about and what you might not like. So we can make adjustments to just really kind of make everything good for everybody. Just like, just world peace all around for all of us. So please leave a comment. Also, please like and subscribe. It really helps boost the channel and just kind of get over those tough algorithms that when they aren't really going as smoothly, just a couple likes and a couple comments and a couple subscribes really kind of makes you take off, and it just feels so good to know that you guys are watching and listening, and I appreciate every single one of you, every single view, every single like, every single comment. I really appreciate all of it. So go ahead now with peace in your mind, with positivity in your words, and love in your heart, and I will see y'all soon. Bye.